Hello, and welcome to a new series that I'm going to be doing for probably quite a while here on my channel, called Nintendo Power Memories. Now, the purpose of this review is to sort of share a lot of the memories that I have of reading Nintendo Power magazine while I was subscribed to it, as well as some of the players' guides that they put out, because those were also sort of a really big part of it for me. And, since Nintendo Power, since they pretty much ended at the end of 2012, a lot of people have been doing retrospective reviews of the magazine as a whole, starting from issue 1. Now, I would do something like this, but the thing is, I wasn't even alive when Nintendo Power started, let alone subscribe to them. So I figured rather than doing what everyone else is doing, I would do sort of my own experiences with the magazine, starting from where I subscribed. Because, a lot of the retrospectives that I've been seeing have been of, like, the really old stuff, and I figured I'd just go ahead and show what was out when I subscribed, including the player's guides. And that brings us to the first episode, and my whole thing with Nintendo Power started with this game. Yoshi's Island for the Game Boy Advance, which is a port of the Super Nintendo game of the same name. This was a hard game. It still is a pretty challenging game, but I was fairly bad at games as a kid. And, one of the things that I really wanted was the player's guide for this, to sort of like help me out and give me a hand, but couldn't find it in stores anywhere. By the time I got this game, I think a lot of stores had stopped carrying it in stock. And, I was a little upset about it, but then I opened up the box, and I saw a little, like, subscription flyer for Nintendo Power, and it came with a free Yoshi's Island Player's Guide from Nintendo Power. And so, naturally, I got signed up for it, and before any of my issues came, I got the, right here, the free Player's Guide. It took about, I think it took like 6 weeks to arrive, I don't remember. I was like 8 or 9, something like that. And it took a while to come, but I was pretty excited when it did. It came like a week or so before my first actual issue. So this was technically not my very first, but my first experience subscribing to Nintendo Power. Technically, my first, like, Nintendo Power publication was the old Super Mario Bros. 3 guide, which I had when I was, like, 5. But I got this as a subscription bonus, so I figured that's what I'd talk about for the first episode. And, it's very typical of Nintendo Power's guides. It's very colorful, well-designed, and fun to just flip through. It's also fairly helpful. This actually did help me quite a bit with the game that I was struggling with. It's got a pretty lengthy intro, going over all the basics of the game, the controls and whatnot. It's really all a bunch of fluff compared to the main part of the guide, but the artwork's nice to look at least. And, as a kid, strategy guides for me were a big deal because they weren't as big of a thing as they seem to be now. And it kind of just really, for me, was a huge thing that they made whole books about these games that I played. It's probably one of the reasons I got so big into guide collecting. Here we have some artwork of, boss characters from the game. This was really cool to see. Enemies, items, and then we get to the main walkthrough. It goes world by world. It has each world color-coded. And this is what I really loved about Nintendo Power's strategy guides, the maps with the little points of interest. They would, like, show you secrets and stuff. They were just very well designed and fun to just flip through, even if you weren't struggling with any given part of the game. They were just really, really nice to look through. You had little text boxes for, just boss fights. And I used the hell out of this book. I was a big, big fan of the GBA version of Yoshi's Island when I first got it, and I knew a bunch of other people back in like elementary school that would play it. I think I remember bringing this and a bunch of other strategy guides I owned at the time to school, and I would like flip through them with people. And just very, very early memory. The first thing I ever got with my Nintendo Power subscription. And for what it's worth, it's a really nice bonus. Primarily, the points of these videos showing off the player's guides is just to sort of show off the design of the guide and share any memories I might have with it as they come back to me. Just sort of looking at these levels, I remember all the childhood stress that this game caused me. Especially on those friggin' old Game Boy Advances before the SPs, when the screens weren't backlit. And if you wanted to actually see the game, you would either play in very bright light, or you'd buy those fucking weird worm lights that you'd plug into the top, and it would light the screen up, but it would just sort of also just obscure the view of the screen. Like a lot of that, I remember having to deal with playing this game. But I would always usually have this guide with me while I was playing it, because I was absolutely terrible at Yoshi's Island. And this actually was quite helpful in, helping me get through the game. I believe some kids I knew back in elementary school even helped me with certain levels. That's how much I sucked. Still, a lot of really fond memories with this game. One of the earlier Game Boy Advance games I got, I think I got it like a couple months after I first got my Game Boy Advance. I don't remember. It's been so long. But I know I got the guide way after I got the game. And this is where the guide came in handy the most, because the last world was something else. It was really something else. That's another oddball memory I have with this game. The last world, like, I had to have a lot of my friends help me with the world before it, but somehow I was able to get through the entirety of the last world on my own. So, I don't know. But the secret stages, I was never any good at those. Not at all. These are by far the toughest parts of the game. I think you'll unlock them after you beat the final castle or something like that. And then, you had these at the end of every player's guide, a little advert to subscribe to Nintendo Power, which, of course, I did. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the first episode of what's going to be a fairly lengthy series. The next few episodes will talk about actual issues, but I also expect to see a lot of these, because it's fun looking back and flipping through these old Nintendo Power guides. Just as many fond memories of these as I have with the magazine. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed the video. Until next time.